Well, now you know right here in our program, we're being joined via England from Bronk. Let's really hear it. Let's really hear it for Bronk.
Boo.
He said in his
I
worst
asked for
Ed
that.
Sullivan. Yeah. He asked for it. I wouldn't do that of my own volition. It was kind of hard for Ed Sullivan to get excited.
No.
Now, you know, right here in our program, the 18th plate spinner. Bring out the plate spinning music.
And the Italian mouse Topo Gigio. That's a saber dance by Cacciatorian. Yeah.
That very good.
It's part of the 101 classical masterpieces that you can get from KTEL Records.
Okay. Hello, Double P in the chat room. And I know that people are not going to be overly excited watching the program today after what happened yesterday. But I'm going to start the program a little bit differently than what you would expect. I'm going to vomit. Hold on a minute. No. All over the thing. I'll tell you, there are a number of reasons why I ended up doing podcasting. One was Northeast Ohio Sports. Of course, we know that. Part of it was because there was a health problem that I was suffering from that resulted from a side effect of medication that I was prescribed in a foolish kind of way. And I was having trouble sleeping. And I wanted to get my mind on something else. And so I started Moohead Radio. That's the second reason. But the other thing is, it's like, I'll tell you the story. I was telling this to Rox the other night, and she just looked at me dumbfounded.
Okay.
You know, the Monty Python sketch about Harold the sheep. And, farmer, is sitting outside of his farm, and a guy is walking up around the bend of the road, and he says, "Excuse me, I thought that I could let you know that you got a problem down in the other end of your farm. You got sheep jumping out of trees, and you hear this splat, effect in the background." And he goes, "I think you got to check that out." And the farmer goes, "I've tried and I've tried, but that's what I get, with, Harold the sheep." The guy goes, "Harold the sheep? Who's Harold the sheep?" He goes, "Harold the sheep is the leader of the sheep, and he's gotten it into his mind that anything is possible when you're a sheep, including flying. And so he has basically convinced the sheep that it is possible to fly." The guy looks at him, he goes, "But you're losing your herd, man. I mean, they're flying out of the trees, breaking their legs. It's terrible. Why in the hell would you permit Harold the sheep to do this?" And the farmer looks at him, he goes, "Because of the incredible possibilities if he succeeds."
Wow.
All right. That's the Harold the sheep story. What would sports be without the upset? What would sports be without the amazing moments? I mean, if you're a Pittsburgh fan, it was the immaculate reception, the thing that you would least expect to have happen. I mean, what would happen really if, I'll give you boxing examples, okay? Buster Douglas isn't the fighter he used to be, and I don't even know why he's here in Tokyo, and he doesn't deserve a heavyweight championship fight. So we're just gonna call it off. Forget about it. What would happen if the U.S. 1980 hockey team, they don't even belong on the ice with the Russians? Are you kidding me? They're rank amateurs against professionals. Why in the hell would anybody want to watch that anyway?
Yeah.
What if sports was like that? What memories would we have? And the answer is none. The name of this program is Business as Usual, and there's a reason. And I didn't want to get into this when there was Browns talk to be had before the Browns lost. I wanted instead to save it for today. The NCAA CFP Selection Committee has taken upon itself to play a game out in their mind before it ever happened and come to the conclusion that one team had no chance at all.
Yeah.
Even though that team was undefeated. Now, we complained about this with, Boise State years ago because, well, they're not a big enough school and they didn't play good enough competition. This was Florida State University of the ACC.
Yeah.
And here's the quote from Chairman Boo Corrigan. Wow. Now, there's a name for fans.
Boo.
Boo Corrigan,
Boo.
Right. Let's boo Corrigan. Quote, Florida State is a different team than it was the first 11 weeks. Because their quarterback got hurt and couldn't play anymore.
Yeah, he's
dead.
But
they still finished undefeated. They won the game, even though the guy wasn't playing. So they decided in their infinite wisdom, America doesn't want to see this. America doesn't want to see the USA 1980 hockey team against the Russians. They don't want to see Buster Douglas in Tokyo. They don't want to see every upset. They don't want to see Jersey Joe Walcott fighting for the heavyweight title for the third time. They don't want to see any number of things. They don't even think that Kenny Norton should be in the ring with Muhammad Ali, for God's sakes. They've made that decision for us. And we're all good with it. You know why?
Why?
It's a big fucking business machine. That's all the hell it is.
Yeah.
It's all the hell sports is anymore anyway. How much are you going to charge me for NFL Sunday Ticket now that it's gone to YouTube TV? How much is it going to cost to get in, park, and eat and watch a professional sports game? How much money does it cost me to bet? How many different betting apps can I have? How much can I contribute to the economy of these goddamn gambling companies? Money, fucking money. That's all it is. I come from a time when business has always been about being profitable, but it used to be that business would be profitable for both the enterprise and the employees,
Well, yeah, maybe.
The world that I came from, how many people that that owned a small company like I did, that we all still talk, we all communicate, we all laugh and joke about the good old days because we were in this thing together. I was only 30 years old when I started.
Yeah.
And I'm 66 now, and I retired when I was 43. And honest to God, still, and I watched the people grow up. I watched the people have kids, and I'm joking and chatting with them about all the fun things we did in the different cities that we were in. And they all enjoyed working for my company. And the reason was because we made it fun. If you were an air talent, if you were a disc jockey at Majack Incorporated, it wasn't like you were going to get paid a lot of money to be a disc jockey in Flint, Michigan, or Binghamton, New York. Let's be honest. But we turned our head the other way. Disc jockeys never paid for a drink in their lives in the towns we were in. They never paid for a meal.
Wow.
Not in their lives. And we allowed them to give free pops, free mentions, on the air, their favorite establishments, so that they would continue to get those perks. Because they had to be in this for something, and there was something in it that reminds me of professional sports. Fame. These guys came from markets in little backwater Mississippi towns or whatever, and they didn't know what it was like on a super miniature scale to be Howard Stern. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But these guys and gals, we made them popular, and they had the skill to be popular, and we let them get away with far more than other broadcast companies did. And so not only were there free drinks and free food, there was notoriety. They were recognized in public. They got all kinds of little freebies. We let them have freebies from the record labels. We, instead of hogging it for ourselves, we let the employees enjoy that stuff. And it was about everybody sharing in the profitability and the wealth of the company. It's not like that no more. And we're
Gosh, that's almost like socialism compared to the way it is now.
sure. And I really, honestly, with all my heart, hate what has become of this country and the business practices that go on and how employees get screwed. I was talking to Rox the other day. You know, she was working for AT&T for years, all right? And they
Okay.
were cutting 25% of their workforce.
Yeah.
And she said to me just the other day, she said, "You big fat cow. Do you realize that of the people on my team, meaning her group of people and tech, the IT end
Okay.
of AT&T, the last one still standing just said, fuck it. Because they just said to people, you got to move. You got to move to Atlanta. If you don't move to Atlanta, then it's your problem. You don't work for AT&T anymore."
Wow.
Isn't that great? So you're living wherever you're living, and the whole idea was you were working remotely. And then all of a sudden they decided we're just going to be closing so many offices around the country, not because they're not profitable, because they fucking own everything. It isn't that. It's they got to have more because they're fucking pigs. That's why. And so
Yeah,
the employee who gave them years of their lives end up being told, well, if either you move, but if you move, we want you to know that that doesn't assure you of a job a year or two from now. What kind of bullshit is that?
yeah.
Same thing here. Florida State's undefeated. They're at a Power 5 conference. They should have been one of the 4 selected. Alabama lost to a shit fuck team early in the year. And for them to sit there and say, well, because their best guy got injured, I mean, then why are we watching the Browns play? And you know why?
Why are we?
Because it's like Harold the Sheep in the event, the incredible event that they succeed.
We want to be there to see it. We want
That's
to be there
right.
to see that sheep fly.
We have
Even
to
though we know it-
realize we
yeah,
are spectators, okay?
we are.
We are not part of the game. We don't affect the game. Everybody getting all kinds
Not
of
at
pissed
all.
off, about things and getting all angry on social media. So, and in the post game show, people saying ridiculous things in the chat room, and people just losing their minds. You're not in the game. You're a spectator. And what's in it for us as fans is to have that rush that we did when the Cavaliers won the championship. The unexpected thing that did happen, winning on the road in Golden State against Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Draymond ball puncher Green. And we end up thrilled.
Not just winning on the road, we won 3 straight games in a row against a team that was seen to be the best NBA team ever assembled.
Yep. And
Ever.
talking about a rush, I mean, that's what's in it. That's what's in it for us. Okay. And what's in it for colleges now? Nothing. You can be undefeated, Power 5. You can, all the criteria can be met.
Well, I mean, I think we're both on the same page. I'd like to see college football completely fucked. I mean, in the sense that instead of having all these scholarships, get rid of scholarships for football. Just get rid of them. Let the schools be places of universities and scholarship. And if they want to have a football program, they can. So they can be like Harvard and Yale and Brown and all that. And instead have all the NFL teams have their own academies where they get 18 to 21-year-old guys and they select them from high school and they fucking train them up. And then you have NFL Academy games on Saturday, and then you have the NFL adult games on Sunday, and you leave universities to be fucking universities, because it's crazy now. It is absolutely crazy. And I might be the only person saying this on the air, but let's make universities universities again. And instead of being fucking sports franchises, it's embarrassing.
Well, the temptation of money and who gets in is too great. And it's the same thing that once people get into office and politically they realize the power they wield and the ability that they can raise funds immediately, they just become greedy and they stop caring about the state of the country that they're supposed to be shepherds of. Here's a quote from one committee member. All of us had the emotional tie, like, holy shit, this is really going to suck to do this. One committee member told ESPN. We talked about that over and over, and we just kept coming back to, are they good enough with what they have to win a national championship? And it just kept coming back to, we didn't think they could. We didn't think?
Yeah.
Did anybody think that Barack Obama would become the president of the United States when he was a child? I mean, come on, we didn't think. What kind of fucking excuse is that? It's fucking money.
It is. I mean, Alabama's got a far bigger fan base than Florida State will ever have.
And not only that, sure, and it's TV money, it's the whole 9 yards. It's selling the whole thing to a country of people who just care about the big names, and they don't care about the little guy who's done something and is trying to prove they can take that last step. They never get a chance. And that stinks. And the bottom line is, Michael Sealy, Texas is not a bad team. I'm not saying that any of the teams...
They were the ones who beat Alabama early in the year. But the problem is that you've got 5 conferences and you got 4 spots. So you got Michigan, you got Washington, you got Texas, and then you've got Alabama that won the SEC.
Now, how can Alabama, they win the SEC, and, good God, like, we need to see more of that fucking team.
I know. They're the most overrated bunch of shitheads.
They're the New England Patriots of college football. Texas beat them.
Yep. Texas did beat them.
I mean, and the bottom line is, to put them just slotted right underneath, then why can't Ohio State be slotted right underneath? I mean, it's just, there's no criteria anymore. And I think it stinks.
No, it is. You just said it. It's the money. The money is the criteria. They've done the most profitable matchup. I mean, I think they've got Georgia playing Florida State, don't they? In the Orange Bowl, that is sort of like the alternative national championship. You could say that whoever wins that game should really be the number 1 team.
Yeah, go ahead, USA, play the Russians, but you won't get the gold if you win.
Yeah, exactly.
What kind of nonsense? Without glory. And this was my point about disc jockeys and professional athletes. Professional athletes playing football, my God, they're risking their lives every day they go out there and shortening their lives every time they go out there. Besides the money, what else is there in it for them? And that is the fame. It is the rush. It is an identity as being somebody who's recognized in the community. It's all kinds of that kind of stuff. And, it's no different than the disc jockeys who just wanted to be known figures and they wanted to be important. Everybody wants to feel important. I mean, and so we do this and we just clobber, Bobby Bowden would be turning over in his fucking grave. I mean, so.
Well, I mean, I think it's, I think it's just a symptomatic of the modern world, man. It's just
what it is.
You're like the old Grandpa Simpson yelling at a cloud here. I mean, you're almost like wasting your time.
Well, I may be wasting my time, but it's my time.
It is, exactly.
And if I just go quiet and I just accept it, I'm going to be a sheep like everybody else. Man. And that's not the way I want to be. Oh, by the way, Kenny Pickett officially had surgery for a high ankle sprain.
Did he?
Yeah, I mean, that's what they say. They say that feminine bones, especially in the ankle area, are more tender than it is for men.
He's cute. Leave him alone.
Yeah, he is, isn't he?
So
it's going to be a couple of weeks before he plays again, yada, yada, yada.
Aww.
But
Bless him.
Again, Kenny Pickett is not a good quarterback, and I
He
don't
is
need to
not the
tell.
Messiah. He's a very naughty boy.
But in my mind, he's not a great quarterback, and anybody who watches, he's not a great quarterback. And Mitch Trubisky's not a great quarterback either. But look what happened to the Steelers at home when their first string quarterback, who got all the reps, went out of the game, and Trubisky had to come in. They lost to a goddamn Cardinals team that was 2-10.
Yeah, I think we managed to beat those fuckers.
Well, but we beat them without, their starting quarterback, but still, they're not good. And and so all the people who are complaining about, the Browns suck and the season's over. Fuck you. Fuck you in the ass. Joe Flacco played his heart out there.
He did. He left everything out there.
I mean,
I don't know whether he's got anything left after that.
No, it wasn't the finest moment for the Cleveland Browns defense. It wasn't the finest moment for the Browns organization. But it isn't like we went in with our tail between our legs and didn't try. It's that there's only so much adversity that anybody, and just do this for me before you all get negative. All right. Let's take Mahomes away from the Chiefs and cripple him for the rest of the year.
Please.
Just like we did Joe Burrow, and look at the Bengals now with a losing record. All right. So you X him out. Let's take Lamar Jackson and X him out. And while we're doing it, let's X out Lamar Jackson and Huntley. And then they have to go to a number 3 and 4 quarterback. Same thing with the Chiefs. They're not allowed to play their backup. They have to play the number 3 and 4. Okay.
Yep.
So there you have it. And I can say it with every damn team that's going to find its way into the playoffs. Hey, go ahead and let's cripple Brock Purdy. See how 49ers fans like to play with a third string quarterback.
Last year, and it didn't go very well for him in the championship game, as I remember. They had like some fifth string quarterback in for that. So
yeah, and again, is this true? And the answer is no, Michael. That's not true.
They're dead.
That's not true.
I mean, 5 starters were dead.
I mean, the defense has regressed badly. I mean, take away the points at the end of the game where we were just frantic because we knew we were going to lose. This was a 20-19 game against their starting quarterback, starting receivers, starting running backs, with their starting defensive end totally healthy and their pass rush intact. I mean, I would say holding that team to 20 points up to that point in the game in the fourth quarter, it wasn't the best defense we've seen. And no, we weren't getting penetration into the backfield. I get that. But teams make adjustments when they watch film. And when they see something work for one team, then it becomes, it becomes apparent that it's up to our defensive coordinator to try to step in and say, okay, here's how we're going to fix this. But it's really hard to fix this when it's like, you have to play a zone instead of a man-to-man pass defense when you've been coaching man-to-man the whole time because Denzel Ward's out. You have to play Halassi out there, and Martin Emerson is not going to be able to stay with the number 1 receiver at this point in his career. So we go to a zone, and well, how come the defense doesn't look very good? Because it's not the same defense, Michael. That's why. I mean, so at least if you're going to watch the games, at least keep your eyes open and look at what's happening. And if you took all of the players that are injured for the Cleveland Browns and do that to any other team in playoff contention,
they'd be fucked.
They'd be fucked and they'd be losing. That's the bottom line.
Fucked.
So, and the reason I point out the Steelers, because it's like, the Steelers, they win every time they come out and they win. No, they don't.
No.
And they didn't have the quarterback who played all the reps. Trubisky came in there thinking he was in mentor. I mean, come on. Do make this stop.
Okay, can I make a slight change of topic and give another round of applause to Bill Belichick and his fantastic New England Patriots, who managed to hold 3 weeks in a row. They held teams to 10 points, and they still didn't win any of the.
Sounds
fucking
like
games.
Cleveland, doesn't it?
Chargers
it smells like
6-0.
team spirit to me.
That's
Hi, Tony.
fucking brilliant.
Yeah. You know,
Can you
and
imagine?
that's who the Steelers play next week. They play the Patriots.
Yeah, this Thursday night it's Bailey Zappi against Mitch Trubisky. Boy, howdy! I want my let me
How
grab
good
my
does
popcorn.
it get? And you know,
Jeff Bezos,
and it's in Pittsburgh, isn't it?
It's in Pittsburgh. Al Michaels on the call. He'll fall asleep. By the
Al
first
Michaels,
discussion.
do you believe in catching up on your sleep? Yes.
Do you believe in narcolepsy? Yes.
Oh, Kirk Herbstreit's going to be saying tempo at least 5 times a minute, I think, just to speed the game along.
Now, how about Chris Berman? This is going to be obscure.
Back.
Wait, no. Oh. Bailey Dynamo Humzappy. Well, somebody will get it in the chat room, okay?
Zappa. Yeah. It's the anniversary of the casino in Montreux burning down, by the way. That was all Frank Zappa's fault.
Yeah, well, yeah. And let's blame a guy who's long dead and buried.
Yeah.
So the fact that the Steelers can't win and pull it out in the end, and neither would the Ravens. The Ravens aren't really very good. And if you took Lamar Jackson out of there and took it away from them, no, they wouldn't be beating good teams. No, they would not. I'm not sure that they're beating good teams now. We're going to find out. But if you took that guy away from them now with the schedule they have coming up, forget about it.
Well, it's funny. All these reporters talk up the AFC North, like, oh, even with the Burrow gone, the Bengals are 6-6, and the Browns are 7-5, and the Steelers are 7-5, and the Ravens are. And it's like the division sucks. What the
No, I'm agreeing with you, Tony.
They're bad. Like, have you watched any of these teams play?
Well, I mean, it's without offense, and we were supposed to be a little bit ahead of the game because, I mean, do you honestly believe? I mean, and all the people who are negative who will be watching this program after the live broadcast of it. We had, again, well over 1,000 viewers on the post-game show yesterday, over 100 concurrent viewers, which is very unusual for the program. So everybody knows what the truth is. I mean, if we had Nick Chubb, if we had Deshaun Watson healthy, all right?
And just had Chubb, we would have won that game.
If we had our starting offensive line, we would be winning these games on that basis alone because we would be controlling the line of scrimmage and we would be beating these teams who are having trouble beating us as we are right now.
Correct.
So, this takes its toll, and you want guys to play. You want Myles Garrett to be a tough guy. Well, he's not going to play as well when he's got one arm. All right.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, you see the holes that get opened up for Kareem Hunt and Jerome Ford, and you just know that Nick Chubb would be like 5 yards further down the field through that very same hole, and then the tackles he would have broken, he would have been the fucking leading rusher of the year if he was still playing in all these 12 games. It's just sickening.
Well, it's the luck of the draw, and it's unfortunate, but I'm not upset, mad at the Browns. I'm not screaming skull going through this, because the more I see of this on social media, the less I become that way, because this is really difficult. I mean, we're getting the shit kicked out of us physically, and when you're down to playing guys from your practice squad and and all it takes is one mistake, and Halassi proved that on the long pass to Nacua.
Not his fault.
He's not prepared because he didn't, that's why he was on the practice squad, right? I mean, this is what it is. And, as far as the interception that Flacco threw, I mean, it's amazing listening to Kevin Stefanski, whose comment to Cleveland Press was when asked, is Flacco going to start again on Sunday? And he said, we're not even talking about that now. We're not even talking about that. It's Monday. We're not talking about that.
Wow.
And it's like, you know, about the interception. It was unfortunate. It was unfortunate. You know, it's like the guy was trying to win a fucking game, you weasel.
He was.
He threw the ball and he threw it, unfortunately, with his feet planted side by side without striding, because he was going to go with the short kind of thing. And then he saw that they were biting on the move, and that Elijah Moore was downfield, and he changed his mind and he opted to throw the bomb, and it was underthrown. I want to say this about John Johnson Jr., who's, you know, that motherfucker's payback. You know,
oh, he's a dick.
That's a fucking fair catch interception. I mean, give me a goddamn break. The guy was 2 yards behind the two of them. He did that in Cleveland the whole time he was here, too. He sucks. And to suggest that he had anything to do with that play.
Oh,
ball was just underthrown. But Elijah Moore, assuming he would have caught the ball, was 2 yards behind the defenders. And if he had gotten the right oomph into that pass, we could be talking about a completely different outcome in this game.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, but just so I've been in a cave the past day, so I don't know what's all going on. So anything you can fill me in on is great, because I didn't know about Pickett and his ankle or
Now Mr. B is my take on Thornhill was predicated on a play when we need it. You know, we all talk about you got to make a play when you got to make a play. And Thornhill, not only is he on multiple occasions this year gotten flags that were completely unnecessary and committed penalties that were completely unnecessary that gave 15 yards to the opposition. In the critical moment when we needed to hold them to a field goal on the 3-yard line, you watch the play, Mr. B, and you watch Kupp go into motion and run straight into the end zone. And the safety never stepped up. Nobody stepped up. He just turned around 1 yard in the end zone, caught the pass. And
boom.
Why was Thornhill on all of his weight on his back foot? There you have it. And so you're asking why I said that about him. And about the safety group? Well, I mean, you obviously didn't see Nakua's touchdown, because that was a pass that was nicely thrown by Stafford, but Halassi took his foot off the gas. Instead of following the receiver down the middle of the field, it was left to Taki, a linebacker, to drop 35 yards back. Now, that can't be the way it's designed. That's on the safety 100% of the time. And when you give up one play that goes 74 freaking yards, I mean, that gets the other team's home crowd whipped into a frenzy, and that is a broken play. Now, I'm going to tell you, there's a reason why it's a broken play, because Halassi should never be on the field. He's supposed to be on a practice squad. But that's what happens when you have to play lower-level players. It's just the way it works. So, you know.
That's a pretty remedial explanation. It's just amazing that you have to bother to point all this shit out, that people can't figure it out for themselves, because it's there for everyone to see.
Yeah. So, anyway. You know, and all the PFF grades that come out can say one thing. If Okoronkwo had a 75.3, Myles Garrett had a 69, Za'Darius had a 61, and Alex Wright had a 56, what does it matter? We never got to the quarterback.
We didn't win.
We didn't come close to getting a strip sack. We didn't come close to getting a sack. We didn't get close in any way, shape, or form to put pressure on that guy.
I don't think we batted down anything either.
No, we just weren't getting any penetration at all. And Dalvin Tomlinson had a 37, Jordan Elliott a 40, Shelby Harris a 57, and Maurice Hurst a 62. And Anthony Walker had an 83.9, but he gave up back-to-back plays against Higbee that's inexcusable.
Yeah,
But
I don't know how he got that. Yeah.
Well, but the problem is he's not used to being a zone defense. None of them were. Tony Fields had a 60, but these are just one snap guys. Koromoa had a 56 and Takitaki a 53. But it wasn't a great day for the offense. It wasn't a great day for a defense. It wasn't as terrible as fans were making it sound because, honestly, you all think that you're in the game or something. You're getting way too emotionally involved in this shit. That's not a big deal to me. I didn't expect them to win, and there's no reason why they should have won. The Rams this is as close to a gift game. You have a guy who's literally 40 days away from being 39, who hasn't played in a year, and he's going to lead the team that doesn't have Amari Cooper, and his go-to target is Elijah Moore.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
I mean, and I thought Flacco did a good job. I think Flacco should start the rest of the season.
He had balls, man. Like I said yesterday, he was throwing balls into windows that no other Cleveland quarterback would even dare attempt to throw into. And, sometimes they actually caught it. So, I mean, good luck to him, is what I have to say. I didn't think he'd be as good as he was. I mean, he wasn't great, but he wasn't shit either.
If McVay was all that, David, they should have scored 42 points earlier in the game and just blown us off the field because we don't have our starters playing the position, and we're playing in a secondary defensive scheme because of it. I give no credit to Sean McVay. None.
No.
He's a 500 team. He was below 500 coming in, and he's had his players, and he's lost. Fuck him. People adjust to what people do, and Sean McVay's day has come and is gone. They haven't been any good the last 2 years. Jesus Christ. And you want to know why people get really uptight about this? This Jimmy Watkins guy from Cleveland.com. Rams loss proves the Browns defense is fading. And you see, that's what the guy in the chat room just a minute ago was saying. They only read headlines. They go, yup. Just trying to cause trouble for no reason. And what do the goddamn reporters ask? Kevin Stefanski standing up there, and they say, so, Flacco going to start again next week? And anybody who's got this fucking job has to know that the whole time that we've been going through the injury with Deshaun Watson and all of it, he never announces who the quarterback is on Monday.
He never tells the fucking truth or is clear. He obfuscates. SAT word, if I can say it.
Obfuscates, yes.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
So, again...
It's an expression, Mo.
He never says on Monday. Why doesn't anybody ask him why we don't have any wide receivers on this roster and ask the question, have you ever asked the people in the front office why we didn't get wide receivers in the draft? You ever ask, and again, you'll get thrown out of the presser.
Exactly.
But the bottom line is, if you're a reporter, ask the goddamn question that matters. Don't ask the question that's just going to irritate him and piss him off, because what he said was, we're not going to go there. We're not going to talk about that now. And that's great. But if you hit him between the eyes with a question like, boy, don't you wish you'd have had Kenny Pickens? Don't you, or what's Pickens' first name? George Pickens, yeah. Don't you wish you had him at least? Don't you wish you had somebody who could go up for the ball and catch it? But nobody wants to go there. And all Jimmy Watkins does is yell fire in a crowded movie theater. And for that, he's a bum. That's all I have to say about that. That's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, I don't know what round that Rams receiver was drafted in this year. Maybe Tony knows. I don't know. But he ripped us a new asshole while he was
Puka
playing.
Nacua, I think he was like
Yeah.
a 4th or 5th round pick.
David, the answer to your question is he pole dances. I have no idea. I have no damn idea what AVP does. I have no idea what Chad O'Shea does. No idea.
Didn't he pitch in the World Series against the Marlins?
I just,
OJ, Chad OJ, not Chad O'Shea.
Yeah, the receivers are just not towing the line, except for Njoku, who towed the bounce line.
What would Manny Acta say about our wide receivers? Because they are a lot like Johnny Damon and Shelley Duncan.
You're really right about that. I was thinking about the Shelley Duncan thing, and then I'm looking at the Elijah Moore or Cedric Tillman. There's a guy right there. You have to be drunk on the telestrator. John Madden would be drunk trying to follow where this guy's running. I have no idea. He's like the road runner, except he's slow and he's drunk. I have no idea. Yeah. I mean, Cedric Tillman, I don't get it.
Puka Nacua was the last pick of the 5th round in this year's draft.
That's right.
Yeah, and we couldn't find him.
Nope.
No.
And there you have it. Yeah, we end up with people who never go anywhere. And
we have
Browns
Shelley
drafted
Duncan
Cameron Mitchell and Dorian Thompson-Robinson instead of
Yeah.
And I was waiting for a wide receiver too, but in Cleveland you can wait and wait and wait and wait, and it doesn't happen. Here's a quote from the Cleveland Browns: "There is no such thing as burning out." It's like Grant Delpit said that. And this notion of, suddenly the defense is weak. Look, it's not that they're not trying. I've watched the Browns when the defense didn't try.
Oh, God, yeah.
I'm watching a second and third string team here.
Yeah.
And it's a skill differential.
Yeah, we're playing with a 4th quarter preseason team. It's what we're playing with right now.
Who would you rather have, Richard? Dino Hall or Monty Hall? Just a question.
Arsenio Hall, I think, would probably be more athletic.
Yeah, it's God. But yeah, it's just a differential of talent, with his glove hanging out his back pocket. Thank you, Richard. I love little baby ducks. My girlfriend when she fucks. Thank you, Tom T. Hall, to Rick May. Thank you so much. We owe you our lives. Yeah. It's the defense
painful.
isn't defeated. They're just shorthanded, and that's it. And this is true. Anytime picker, that's true. This has just been an unusually, and what makes it so upsetting is that we actually showed the character that we've been missing defensively. And, I'm hoping that maybe in the future, if we get a real offensive coordinator, that we'll have that same enthusiasm on the offensive side of the ball. Yeah. And it will also tell you that Kevin Stefanski's offense can't be very complex if a almost 39-year-old guy who hasn't played for a year could execute it. And again, that's pass action, play action passing based, and not shotgun based, and his short, quick hitters down the field. It's easy to say, well, he did better in Deshaun Watson. Well, no, Deshaun Watson has a history of throwing 60-yard completions if he has receivers.
Yeah.
Kevin Stefanski doesn't have that history. Kevin Stefanski would utilize Jarvis Landry until all of his bones were broken, but there was no big plays. There have never really been big plays since he became the offensive coordinator de facto of the Cleveland Browns. He stays in the, inside 15-yard range. That's just the fact. So
yeah,
yeah,
it's all grim.
Well, it's just what it is. Ex-Brown John Johnson III says there's no bad blood with Cleveland. But then he puts up a shit post on social media, and that's why we don't need him.
He's a dick.
That's right. And he's not even a good football
when
player.
He was here.
Yeah, nothing. Nothing there. You know. And again, when you're not getting into the backfield, you're not stopping the run, you're not forcing Matthew Stafford in must-pass situations. And that's when you get pressure.
Well, I don't think the Rams sacked Flacco at all, did they? Or if they did, it was when I wasn't watching.
That was the last 2 minutes of the game where they crushed
exactly,
him. It was like a goddamn Buffalo stampede.
Yeah, I think I turned the game off after that interception, but yeah.
And, again, the missed extra point, unfortunately, was kind of a fork in the road, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate because you thought for sure, well, okay, we're tied. No, we're not. And that's the second time that's happened this year.
Correct.
Yeah. You want me to make a prediction now? No. No, Damon. I can't do that because I don't have any information on what additional people are injured.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
And who's going to be back? Is Denzel Ward going to be back? Because if you're going up against, Lawrence, and you're going up against the Jaguars, even if you're at home, you got to stop the forward pass, and you also have to account for the quarterback running. There's a lot, and then you have to pay attention to that big bus of a guy, ATN. You got a lot to look at there, and without me knowing who's hurt, who's not, I'm not going to give a prediction right now. So,
can I point out that it's amazing the transformation that Jacksonville have made once they finally got rid of Urban Meyer after his horrible 12 games last year and brought in somebody that was halfway competent, and then got an offensive coordinator that's halfway good too. So that can happen. I mean, they're the living proof that they can improve their team by getting rid of the cancer that is on the team.
Anytime picker, the NFL officiating. And this is what I call the dichotomy that we have to face. This is an SAT word.
That means like two things.
The league is becoming very soft, but the league is creating more injuries to players. So here's our dichotomy branching out. It's like you want the league to become less soft so that teams like the Steelers and the Ravens can intentionally spear people as many times as they want to in a game. What you're going to do is you're going to wind up watching fucking He Hate Me and indoor football players on the field and scabs. I mean, this is a real difficult thing because the things that they're doing don't really make the game safer now. We know that. And for all the talk of the helmet and this and that, no, they're not. The game will never be a safe game. And some of these things that they're calling, that are obvious shots to the chin and jarring the head. You can get a concussion any number of ways. You don't have to get hit at the top of your head. You can get hit at the
concussion tackling. If you tackle somebody
your head
correctly.
Boxers get concussions as much from hitting the canvas with the back of their head.
Sure.
When they get knocked down. I mean, look, there's a lot of ways to get hurt in the NFL. And I know what you're saying, that a lot of the calls are suspicious in nature and in their timing. But other than that, the league is not pussified. What it amounts to is the NFL tries to put window dressing on the barbaric nature of the sport.
Barbaric.
And that's
barbaric.
That is what you're getting is marketing. It's just like the fact that the CFP selection committee, they have to come back and say, God, that was a hard decision. They're mealy mouthing and trying to soften the blow to Florida State. Like, God, we were torn over this.
Torn, yes.
Us and Natalie and Bruglia. We were both just torn.
Naked, lying on the floor. That's what the whole committee was.
Yeah. And Jim, I'll agree with you on that. That this is the end of the road.
The end.
Oh, the end of the road. Yeah, the Browns going to have to bring it, whatever it is they got, and except double reverses. I hope to God it doesn't come to that. Topaz is behind me going, no, not that. No. So yeah,
well, that's the great thing about Flacco is they didn't run any fucking trick plays because he probably said, I ain't doing that bullshit, or we don't have time to learn them.
Yeah, it's and the thing that bothered me about Stefanski and his presser was he made sure that everybody in the room knew that on every play action pass, quarterback has a decision to make which guy to target, and he initially looked to Tillman and went no, and then he went downfield. But you could tell the way he was saying it that he was getting himself off the hook and making sure the world knew that was Flacco's decision.
Exactly.
He never takes that accountability for stupid play calls.
Yeah, he is
also known as stupid human tricks.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was intentional, and it got them exactly
what they
wanted. That's right. And the unfortunate reality is, my feeling is that a player who does that and spears in an obvious way like that gets removed from the game instantly. And if he does it a second time, he's gone for the season.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're serious about suppressing head injuries, that's the way you have to approach it. And it will force the Mike Tomlins and the Harbaughs and the people of the world to start playing football instead of thuggery. That's what it comes down to. Yeah. And so that's the way it would work. But they're never going to do that.
No.
Yeah, I was going to ask about the weather. Rainy and windy, which may help Jacksonville. No, to be very honest with you,
I don't think so.
Let's dirty it up, man.
Well, they still got to play the Bengals today. I mean, Trevor Lawrence could get crippled tonight in the game. So, I mean,
yeah, and they have a short week. If they come up with injuries in this game, they have a short week. There are going to be people missing out there. I'm looking at a double P here. MKC, right? Yeah. Kevin Stefanski should start Joe Flacco versus the Jaguars, but only after make them also prepare for Dorian Thompson-Robinson. I mean, what does that mean? Are you suggesting they split reps? Is that what you're suggesting? Then say that. But she doesn't even have the courage to say that.
Well, yeah.
So in other words, sit back and wait and don't announce who the starting quarterback is. And you know something? I hate to tell you this, Mary Kay, but they're preparing for Kevin Stefanski's offense, not the individual quarterback. They already know what everyone's going to do. Stop it.
They know our little swing pass. They'll have 3 linebackers out there waiting for the Jerome Ford when he's 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Every team kills that play. I mean, how many times do we have to watch tackles for loss?
Oh, he meant neutralize. Okay. Okay. Now I get it. Yeah. That it might be a great equalizer. Trevor Lawrence sitting there going, skating like Peggy Fleming. Yeah.
Peggy Fleming. That's the name.
Yeah. Dirty it up, man. That's sometimes what you got to do to win games like this. And this is a fair question. If Stefanski misses the playoffs, do you give him a pass or do you condemn him just because he couldn't adjust? And the answer is I would only
Yeah.
condemn him if he doesn't have an offensive coordinator. Nobody else does this. Nobody else is both the offensive coordinator, the play caller, and the head coach all at once. That's foolishness. And the organization should put their foot down and say, this is not the way a professional organization is run. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, that would be like running a business where somebody was the owner of the business, they were the chief financial officer, and they were, and you could have
And the
these
top sales guy.
yeah, right, multiple roles.
It doesn't make sense, does it?
No, it does not. So I'm going to say this: Stefanski's going to be the coach next year. I have no problem with that, but he has to have an offensive coordinator, and no threat, no woman, no song.
threat.
Yep. The Bengals are not a threat. And who's their great quarterback?
Jake Browning, or
that's his name.
Elizabeth Barrett Browning. I think,
I was going to say the third string quarterback is Keats. Am I right?
Yes.
Am I right? Or am I right? Or am I right?
And Shelley Keats.
Oh God.
Wordsworth.
Yeah, and better question than does Goodwin know how many fingers the trainer is holding up yet? I mean, you want to talk about, and I'm going to slip into another thing. It's like, how would you like to have a sprained ankle like Ty Jerome has for the Cleveland Cavaliers, and you never got to play in a fucking game this year?
Wow.
You're already 20 games into the season, and you haven't gotten over a sprained ankle yet. But Goodwin, no, he wouldn't help us because he can only run in a straight line, and maybe it would help Flacco. I don't, because he can, assuming that he's
Flacco
stepping forward and he can throw it that far. Then I wouldn't want to play them if they made the playoffs, because they just out of sheer inspiration might come up with a Buster Douglas moment. They wouldn't win the Super Bowl. But you don't want to be out there with them because for one game,
we couldn't possibly win 3 away games in a row and make it in the Super Bowl against the teams that we would have to play.
Right. I mean, let's get real about it.
We would have to be either the Ravens or the Chiefs, and probably all 3 of them to get in, and it'd just be crazy.
And again. And I'm going to point something out. Who was the former Colorado running back who was the offensive coordinator for Andy Reid out there in Kansas City all those years? The African-American fellow. Eric Bieniemy. Boy, their offense hasn't looked as sharp this year, eh? But yeah, I understand that it's a reputation thing, but Kevin Stefanski doesn't have that going for him. So,
well, at least we're better than Bill Belichick's offense.
So, oh God,
I keep going back to that because it's so sweet to watch.
Yeah, and watching the Chiefs get beaten up by Jordan Love, There's
no love for the Chiefs there.
Yeah, I think I figured out what was happening there, and how he had such a big game against the Chiefs. The Chiefs got confused. They were trying to get Christy Love.
Get Christy Love, yes.
Thank you. These are, again, ridiculous 70s blaxploitation movie references.
Let's see whether anybody in the chat room, you mentioned Peggy Fleming earlier, anybody can quickly name the location where Peggy Fleming won her Olympic gold medal.
On the ice.
No, I mean, what city? Or country, even.
Oh, boy, 1968, eh?
Yeah, 1968.
That was the Winter Olympics.
Winter, yes.
So you can't say Mexico City. Yeah, can't say that. Can't. I wouldn't even think I would know that. 1968.
Do you want me to tell you?
Yeah.
So it was Grenoble, and
Grenoble, France. That's right.
You know what the most famous person at that Olympics was?
In 1968, who was
I could even Bob McKay or whatever. I could even hear him announcing it or whatever.
George Foreman.
Jean-Claude Killy.
Oh yeah, Jean-Claude Killy. There he is with a croissant.
He won
You wanna
every
know what
ski race
famous-
going. Old Jean-Claude Killy.
What,
You
Tony?
want to know what famous professional wrestler is from Grenoble, France?
Why don't we try Andre the Giant?
Bingo.
Yeah. Jim McKay.
Ooh,
Yeah,
yeah.
Jim McKay.
Yeah, Jim McKay. Yeah.
They're all dead.
Dead, everyone.
They're all
Everybody's dead.
With this,
They're all dead.
he's sleep deprived and he's smiling. They're all
Yeah,
dead.
he's like up for 36 hours. And he goes,
This one has a
"They're all
happy
dead."
ending, folks. They're all dead. I can get some sleep now. Thanks, Jim. Oh my God.
They're all. That was 72. So there you go.
Now, anytime picker, that could be a really good joke because she's oceans wide.
Wow.
Sorry about that, Taylor. It was just too easy. It was low hanging fruit. All right.
Okay, so you know the 1972 Olympics. Where was the Winter Olympics at?
I never really much. I did watch them, but we always remember that Munich because of what happened there.
Yeah, exactly. But you don't remember that Sapporo.
Oh,
was
Sapporo, Japan. That's right.
Where they had all the crazy Japanese ski jumpers.
Whoa! Guys kicking up their skis. Whoa! Everybody was kung fu fight.
They
Never mind.
had like,
Yeah. So here we go. Kyle McCord enters the transfer portal. It sounds like Star Trek. Blast it, Jim. You're beaming a man into another university. He's entered the transfer portal.
They should call it the wormhole instead of the transfer
Yeah.
window.
And what's really funny about it is that Ohio State fans are like,
Yeah.
they don't care about Kyle McCord.
No.
Eddie the Eagle Edwards. Yeah, I remember him now.
Okay, let's go up another 1976.
Montreal.
Well, the Winter Olympics, right? Who was the famous guy from that one? Innsbruck, Austria.
Oh, God Almighty! Who it would have been?
Downhill skier. Franz Klammer.
Franz Klammer. That's right. The
guy
Austrian.
fell off. He nearly fell off the hill, and his ski went like 90 degrees up in the air, and he still hangs on and wins the gold medal for Austria.
And here's another great headline before I get out of here.
People are Rick May and Jim Giles sort of guy.
Yeah, I mean that's impressive.
Franz Klammer.
I'm going to be done here because I got to get on to whatever's next in my life. But this headline, all right, if the final score is 42-19, right?
Yeah.
Why this headline?
Why?
Eagles can't mount another comeback. Fall to 49ers. They got crushed like a bug in a windshield. What are you talking about? There was no chance for a comeback. They couldn't even fucking tackle.
They got ass raped.
Oh my God, that's just so
raping.
silly.
We got a guy have the what's his face play of the game. I can't even think of his Peter Alice.
Oh,
Peter
the Peter Alice. Oh wait, Peter Alice always has something to say. Wait a minute. I have to get. Oh, Tiger Woods. Oh, he's back on the course. Now he can walk the course, but he can't play it. Oh, he came in, 18th out of 20 players.
No.
It's so sad, and he's looking more and more like a gargoyle these days. Oh, he's not aging well like his father Eldridge. But it's for the play of the game. Oh, it's the extra point failure that, it brought to mind Cade York to me. And I thought to myself, what is Cade York doing right now? And the answer is no different than his future daughter, hooking everything. That was a joke. I'm out of here. He's literally out of here, too.
Here, yeah.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. FSU got screwed, and it'll be something else later. But we will be back at the end of the week on Friday to talk about the pregame analysis and what the Browns need to do to beat the Jaguars, and we'll have a much clearer indication who's going to play and who's not going to play.
And we're going to have a little baby Jesus there that we pray to, and that's what the Browns need to do to win this game on Sunday.
Oh, in the manger. Yeah.
Little nativity scene in the corner with Topaz the Wolf guarding the little baby Jesus.
All right. Bronk, thanks. Tony the Calf, thanks for helping me out.
Well,
Everybody have yourself a good rest of the Monday. Let's watch those Bengals go out there and try to put a little bit of hurt on the Jaguars for us. Don't make them mad. Just cripple them so they can't play. Okay? All right, everybody. We'll see you again on Friday. Hasta la vista, Pastor Eds. Good night.